Hi y'all, what's up? Good morning. It's Romance coming through to another world according to Romance. This is part, I believe, 6 on Alexander. This is going to be the second last show. I got one more after this. We're going to finally finish it up on Alexander. I gotta say, this is a 7-part series. I'm going to have this for the rest of my life to show my kids. I'm going to keep on doing this shit. I loved it, and I hope you did too, man, because it really helps me a lot to do this. It's not just me showing off. It really does. You know what I mean? It's like, you know how if you get like a dog that's like a working dog, you need to like, or a racing dog, you need to like take it out all the time so it can run. Like, that's how I am with history, man. But anyways, Alexander the Great last, we saw him. He came to the end of the Indus River and came out of the Hindu Kush. He was there for 2 years. The year is now 327 BC, and he is on the edges of India. Okay, now most of northwestern India was actually run by the Persians, and he was going into territory that's rightfully his. He just conquered Persians. He just beat their ass. He destroyed their king. He's taking over Persia, but he's coming to the end of where Persian satraps rule, and he's coming to the beginning of where actually Hindu Rajas, kings, and there are many kings. India is all kinds of different kingdoms, different religions, different clans. It's a mess, like ethnically over there. There's all kinds of shit just compacted together in a little area. He's in the northwest, what's known as the Punjab region, and he's going through. He's picking off. He's rolling up the towns. They're just capitulating. They're not giving him a fight. He meets a friendly Raj. They start teaching him how he starts learning about elephant tactics, because almost all the Indian armies use elephant troops. And I mean, think about it. The Greeks had never even seen, they've never seen an elephant. They've heard about them. It's hard enough going against cavalry when you're on foot. It's just terrifying. Seeing elephants in battle, I can't stress enough, they really brought home the terror when you saw them in battle, again, especially if you've never seen one before. And there was much that the Macedonians and even the Persians, by now his army is a ragtag. There's Egyptians in there, there's Jews, there's freaking Arabs, there's guys from every walk and climb of life. Everywhere that he's been have just joined this party and kept on going. He has his 60-year-old Macedonian shieldman who he inherited from his father. He got all his boys, Ptolemy, Antigonus. He got his lover Hephaestion with him, who's one of his top generals. They're all still kicking ass together. So they're going into India. And again, they never seen really, it's like the first time they're seeing turbans, first time they're seeing, you know what I'm saying, just the customs of the way they dress in India. You know what I mean? If you ever went to, I've never been to India, but I'm sure I'd be shocked as shit if I went there. You know what I'm saying? Any traveler going there today, as then, at 327 BC, would be astounded, you know? And they're writing all this down. All this stuff gets written down. All their strange customs, their marriage customs, their eating customs, everything is just blowing away the Macedonians. So the next king in line to put up a fight is named King Porus, and he's kind of the king of the Punjab region. And they're actually, you know, they're pretty deep in India. They've been there a couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 months, and they're pushing through and walking around. It's jungle. And then the other thing that the Macedonians had no clue about that really busted their ass was the monsoons. They had no idea about the monsoons, and it was monsoon season. So if you think Alexander's getting to Greece and getting to India and it's all sunny and nice, because when I think of India, I usually think of hot and the sun shining and, you know what I mean, like desert, jungle conditions. I always think of the sunshine in India. Well, this wasn't happening for Alexander. It was dark. He was mostly moving at night. He had to cross this river that was heavily guarded by Porus, and he couldn't get across it. So he's like, it was turning into Vietnam. Like his guys, they were scared. There's all these strange animals. There's tigers. There's all these fucking cobras everywhere. it was turning into a mess. Finally, he got far enough up the river, I forget which river it was, but to the point where he crossed. And the crossing was real scary. There was lightning everywhere. There was when they were crossing that river, there was just one of the worst electrical storms that any of them have ever witnessed. Basically, in the time that Alexander had to work with elephants, he learned that for some reason, his cavalry the horses get scared and they seem to flank left off to the left and to the side of the elephants, and then when you go back around them and attack them from the back on the flank, they don't like that. The elephants like to fight you straight on, head up. They like to headbutt you. All right. So Alexander knew that, and he met this poorest guy in battle, and he also did the trick where you just you let your front guys just let the elephants, when they're charging, you just let you move real quick and just let them go right through your ranks, and then you got them surrounded. So Alexander deployed these tactics. He won the day, and now he has a kingdom in India. This is beyond the enemy lines here. He's in unknown territory. He's definitely lost. It's pouring rain. He just conquers this city. He leaves Porus in. He just kills all of the rebellious noblemen, but leaves Porus in power and lets him rule there. Porus, they would end up ruling that kingdom for the rest of his life. But now he has a kingdom. He even has a kingdom in India. So beyond that, he's not far from the Ganges River. All right. The whole time they've been in India, these fucking Hindus won't shut up about this, how great and big this Ganges River is. The Macedonians are scared shitless of this river. They're thinking it's the biggest river on earth. They don't want to go near it. They know that this next guy is basically the next guy they're going after is pretty much the High King of India. I don't have his name, but I know his title. He was the 9th king in a line that went back 2,500 years. He had over 250,000 troops. Like, the cards were really stacked against Alexander this time. And every one of his Macedonians were like, look it. These guys are wearing fucking turbans. They got fucking dots on their heads, and they won't eat cow, okay? They're wearing freaking pants over here. This got nothing to do with Greece, bro. We're going back. We're turning around. It's raining. I'm freaking sick of this shit. And he, for the first time, I guess you could say in Alexander's career, he lost. But only to the weather and his generals. He did not lose in battle. So, they packed it up. The Indian campaign came to an end. And they started moving backwards, okay? He starts pacifying, but he, just like Alexander, true Alexander fashion, he said, all right, I'm not going any further. I'm not going to push you to the end of the world, you pussy, since you can't do it. But we're still holding this territory. So what does he do? He turns around, he fortifies all his positions, he starts founding more cities named Alexandria. It's right after the battle with Porus that Bucephalus, Alexander's horse that he loved so much, died, and he actually founded a city in what's now Pakistan named Bucephalus. It lasted about 350 years before it turned to ruins. And he starts like putting in motion the administration of his India campaign, and he goes back. He actually is on a river, and he takes his army into all boats. So he's now on a navy. He heads down, I believe it was not the Indus, but one of the rivers in between the Indus and the Ganges. Man, I can't keep track of all the rivers in India. But he takes a river out of like the Punjab region into the Arabian Sea, back up to like the southern part of Iran, and heads back to Persia. Ecbatana, Persepolis, and Susa are the main 3 cities. I said that multiple times now. I think he headed back to Susa, But before he did, and before they left India, they're sacking a town. There's still towns that are putting up rebellions. And they're doing the siege works. There's, you know, he's got siege towers up. And the guys were moving too slow that day. And Alexander didn't like it. He's, come on, hustle, hustle, hustle. And typical Alexander, he just got on the fucking top of the siege himself and started throwing bags over and throwing up ladders and being a siege tower guy, like something that a general is really not supposed to do. And he's on the top of this wall, and somebody sniped him with a 3-foot arrow, went in the length of, like, it went like in his chest and like came out near his ass or something like that. And it had to be pulled out. And don't you know, this son of a bitch, his troops thought he was dead. He was fucked up for a couple days. A couple days later, his body's on a boat floating down this river. Everyone's having a funeral for him. In the middle of this funeral, the son of a bitch gets up, gets on a horse and says, let's keep fucking fighting! I got one more day left of Alexander. Enjoy your day, people. World according to romance. Peace.